Hello everyone, Mr. Lipchick here, and the topic for this block of instruction will be the gross domestic product. National Income and Product Accounting, or NIPA. National Income Accounting is a system that collects macroeconomic statistics on production, income, investment, and savings. National Income and Product accounts, NIPA, are maintained by the U.S. Department of Commerce. The most important measure of economic performance calculated by NIPA is the gross domestic product, or GDP. The gross domestic product is defined as the dollar value of all goods and services produced within a country's borders in a given year. GDP. GDP includes the final values of all of the goods and services produced as opposed to intermediate goods. Intermediate goods are goods that are used in the production of final goods. GDP does not include products produced by U.S. companies outside of U.S. borders. And as you can see, even though the GDP has fluctuated over the years, it has expanded with time. So the economy has and will continue to grow. There are two methods for determining GDP, the expenditure approach and the income approach. The expenditure approach involves calculating GDP based upon the annual total expenditure on goods and services within the economy. Expenditures are estimated in four categories. 1. Consumer goods and services, that is durable and non-durable goods. 2. Business goods and services. 3. Government goods and services. And 4. Net exports or imports of goods and services. The income approach involves adding up all the incomes in the economy. Theoretically, GDP can be calculated with either the income approach or the expenditure approach and should result in the same total. In practice, however, the government uses both the income and expenditure approaches and then compares them and adjusts the final figures to account for errors. Nominal versus real GDP. Nominal GDP is GDP measured in current prices. This is used to express the current year's GDP in current prices. Real GDP is GDP expressed in constant or unchanging prices. And this adjusts for changes in prices and measures changes in the actual production of goods and services. There are limitations to GDP. There are non-market activities that GDP does not measure. It does not measure the goods and services that people perform for themselves. And it does not account for the underground economy, a large amount of production and income that is not recorded or reported to the government. Flea markets would be an example of that. And this includes both legal and illegal activities. And there are negative externalities, unintended economic side effects that have economic value that are not included in the GDP, such as clean environment, public safety, and other social goods. These are not included. Other income and output measures. There's the gross national product, and this is the annual income earned by U.S.-owned firms and U.S. citizens. It includes incomes earned outside of the U.S. by U.S. firms and citizens, but not income earned by foreign firms and foreign citizens located in the U.S. It is a measure of the market value of all goods and services produced by Americans in 1 year. Then there's the net national product, or NNP. This is the GNP minus the cost of depreciation of capital equipment. Depreciation is defined as the loss of the value of capital equipment that results from normal wear and tear. The NNP is a measure of the economy's net output of goods and services for 1 year. And there's the national income. NNP minus sales and excise taxes makes up the national income. There's personal income. This is national income minus reinvested profits, business income taxes, and Social Security taxes, plus other household income. And disposable personal income. This is personal income minus individual income taxes. How much people have to spend after paying their personal taxes. That is their disposable personal income. Supply, demand, and GDP. Aggregate supply is defined as the total amount of goods and services in the economy available at all possible prices. Aggregate supply is affected by price levels, which are the average of all prices in the economy. Rising prices give firms incentives to increase their output. Falling prices cause firms to cut back in their output. Aggregate supply is a measure of real GDP. As price levels rise, real GDP rises. As price levels fall, real GDP falls. And there's aggregate demand. And aggregate demand is the amount of goods and services in the economy that will be purchased at all possible price levels. Lower price levels result in greater real income for households, increasing demand. Higher prices result in lower purchasing power, reducing the quantity of goods and services demanded. The aggregate supply and aggregate demand equilibrium is any shift in the aggregate supply or aggregate demand curve will cause real GDP to change. And as you can see in the graph to the right, as real output increases and supply increases and aggregate demand shifts to the right, as those levels change, you have a change in the equilibrium output. That concludes our discussion of GDP. Thank you for viewing, and I look forward to seeing you in the live lessons. Have a great day.